What's going on, guys? CJ here with another video, and today this deck is all about the RNGs. So you think it's on your side, then you want to try this deck. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about discard Warlock, and by God, is RNG on your side or not? Because I don't know how many games that I had two cards in my hand and I specifically was trying to get the one to fall out because it might have been the silverware golem that goes onto the board, but of course I completely whiff and hit one of my other cards, like Kenrithad's prime form or something, right? Like, it's just gonna happen. But if you think that RNG is on your side, then this deck might have some great success for you. I played a lot of this deck last season and quite a bit of it so far this season, and I do gotta say it's probably one of my more fun Warlock decks to play in Wild. It's been so long that they've been trying to push the discard synergies, and until recently they just never really worked. I think somebody figured this deck out a while back, so it's not too reformed into a version that I specifically built. I did put Clutch Mother Zavis in here because I thought it's not a terrible ad. It is a legendary, so it's definitely not a must-have. I just think a 2-mana 2/2 that can infinitely scale as that late game last hope to throw on the board and win isn't a terrible card to have in your hand. You are discarding a ton. It always goes back, so it's not a card you're ever going to lose. I've gotten a thing up to like an 8/8 or a 10/10. It's awesome to rip down on like turn 5 or 6, especially against other aggro decks that might not have an answer for it. But I will say this deck is extremely fun, and I've had some nut plays happen. Kenrithad is insane in this deck, like absolutely insane. I don't know if it's in every version, but I think it's a must-have in this deck. I don't know how many times, like by turn 3 or 4, my board is just like all 7 minions, right? Turn 2 with coin. I don't have it on these videos that I posted because I didn't record them, but I do have a screenshot on my Twitter account where it was a turn, so end of turn 2, so it would have been turn 2 plus coin. I literally threw down Ebonlock and just tossed in a ton of 1-drops with Solarium that I just happened to hit the nuts on, where I got, I think, literally all 1-drops. So of course with Kenrithad reducing your demons by 1, all my 1s were 0s. So I just had like Flame Imps and Malakar's Imps and Void Walkers like all over the board. It was like insane. Like there was nothing the mage could do, right? I mean, if he had Flame Ward, of course, like yeah, then okay, the board gets wiped, like kind of unlucky. But still, turn 3, entire board. Like if you're playing aggro, like what are they gonna do? They can't answer that. So it is fun. There's a lot of RNG involved. Like I said, it's all about what is getting discarded. Of course, they have tried to tune that down a little bit with certain cards forcing other cards to be discarded with the highest and the lowest. So like, your Shrieks, where I don't have this in the specific version, but I know that it could be a tech card to help with a little bit of the aggro. And it does, like, it obviously is forced to discard your lowest cost one. And then you have the Nightshade Matron, which is a great card that discards your highest drop one, or also Expired Merchant, which does the same thing. So Hand of Gul'dan in this deck is just nuts because of the fact that it can draw 3 cards for 0. So not only are you able to draw with your hero power, but you're just refilling your hand. You throw down a Malakar's Imp, you're getting 4 draws for the cost of nothing, really. If you have them down from the previous turn, if you throw them down for 1, then you do an Expired Merchant, and then you just have endless, like, your hand is always full. So it's fun. It's a very fun deck to play. And it does a lot of damage. I mean, the bursts from the Fist of Jaraxxus and the Soulfires and the Doom Guards, I mean, you can just push to the limit. Like, there's just absolutely nothing that this deck can't just kind of go face like any other aggro deck. So it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. It's a deck that I've had good success with. I climbed to Legend last season with it, so it is definitely Legend viable. But again, if RNG is not on your side, you probably don't want to be playing this deck, because it's all about what you're discarding, and not every card is a forced discard, of course, as you know. Like, so it's not terrible because your hand's not always completely full, but you just got to keep that in mind. There's going to be those games where like the winning play is right there, and it's like, oh, Doomguard and Soulfire. Think that there's no way the Doomguard is going to rip the Soulfire when you have like 7 other cards in your hand, and it just happens to discard both Soulfires, and you're like, well, great, now I can't win. But then I've had other games, and it's in this video where I literally discarded 2 Fists of Jaraxxus's directly to his face when I pulled the Doomguard out. So I pushed like 13 damage in 1 turn on a rogue. It was insane. Like, it's hilarious to see. It's at the end of the video. But that game was just, I'm so happy I was able to record that one. But anyways, tech cards, not really many. I feel like this deck is literally as face to the place as it gets when it comes to aggro decks. Everything is kind of synergized pretty well with the whole discard system. So I don't know if there's anything you really want to tech. I've seen Lakari Foulhounds. So the 4-mana 3/8 discard 2 in some versions. I don't use him, but I do think it's a very good card. I mean, for 4 mana, the stats are pretty nice, and it also again synergizes with the discarding. But I feel like there's already so much discard in this deck that I just kind of geared away from another card that kind of did a lot of the same things. So he's not in here. And then I mentioned Shriek earlier. Great card, I think, if you're running into a lot of aggro. It helps clear the board. Of course, it's going to kind of hurt your board too, but this deck isn't the best against aggro because of how much self damage you're taking. So keep that in mind. I feel like it's an auto loss to Demon Hunters. I've had a couple games where I thought I had the nuts opening hand that I could not lose, and you still lose. Like, but yeah, against other aggro decks, very difficult. Control decks, you tend to have, of course, the advantage on. Just because I think you do so much damage early. But yeah, if you guys like the video and you want to see more content, I plan on uploading weekly, a couple times a week. Just getting back into the swing of things, so I would appreciate if you would like the video and subscribe to stay tuned to my next one. But yeah, thanks very much, and I hope to see you soon.
Nemzi versus Deathwing.
All right. This is my first game in the last 4 that I am not playing against our favorite deck of all time, and that is Odd Demon Hunter. So there is a chance. Yeah, the second Odd Demon Hunter I just don't think is winnable. I mean, not get me wrong, like Odd Demon Hunter is just tough in general, but you just take way too much self damage, and they just push too much damage. It's just impossible. We need some kind of a heal in order to survive through them. We just don't. You need like the nuts draw, like an absolute nuts draw. But all right, so we're playing our favorite other deck, Pirate Warrior. Let's see, how do we want to play this out? That never survives. We could coin the 4/3 and hope. No, probably not. Just play the through. Play the 1 mana. And play the 1 mana 3/2. He'll trade, leave a 1/1 up. It's fine. I can Soulfire that. Alright, let's try a 1-drop. We play this, get the Hand of Gul'dan to fall. That'll be the nuts. Plus, if this card survives anyways, it just becomes a 5/4. Okay. He's not making a board, but he does have infinite draw now. Okay, that's pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good. Problem is it's a 50-50. Really don't want to Solarium. It's never Hand of Gul'dan, right? It's always Solarium that we lose. Oh my god, that's literally the best thing in the world. Why do you call? It's never lucky. I love playing this deck. I think it's fun. I think it's a little bit challenging for like an aggro deck, but the RNG against it is a little tough sometimes. I just feel like a lot of times, like, those 50-50s are just never in my favor, ever. So it is a lot of hit or miss, unfortunately. This guy just doesn't have a hand though, huh? Pillager? No? Gonna get another 1-3 back up? I mean, honestly, you guys having a tough time. Sand's not great though. We have drawn a lot of our 1-drops, so Solarium's a little tough just because if we draw the Doom Guards, I mean, there was a lot of cards that we could draw that be good for us, but there's also a lot of cards that we could draw that aren't. So the risk is, do we tap and just play a Flame Imp? Or do we Solarium and hope for the nuts in terms of getting Vista Duraxis, another Gul'dan, some Silverware Golems, etc., etc. That's the play. We can clear the board, so I'm not worried about the board. And it would leave a 3-2 up, but it just gets cleared by him.
There is so much untapped power in this world. You are not the boss of me.
Alright, definitely paid off. That was a pretty nice Solarium. I'm not gonna lie, the RNG has been pretty nice to us this game. More RNG that's been nice to us. We probably just Doom Guard so we can kill the 2/5. Alright. We get to draw too, so it's not that bad.
Who dares summon me? A paltry task.
This has to die.
I don't wanna. Punishment! Such a fate!
We don't have many cards left in our deck, so the odds of drawing our 8-mana guy on turn 8 is probably pretty high. If we draw a low-end card here, like a 1-drop, we can play the 1-drop into Doomguard and get the Vista Duraxis, which is pretty nice.
Someone's gotta lead the charge.
We have the same amount of card, and my cards are definitely better than his cards. At some point, though, he's got 4 or 5. Kind of nuts. He's just gonna start going face now, because he knows. Okay, so Soulfire. It's pretty nice. I think we just ripped the other Doomguard.
A paltry task. Who dares summon me?
Alright. We have 13 on board. He has 2 cards and a 4/4.
Trust
Okay.
the pirates away!
No, don't. It's still going.
We just push the damage. The 2/2 really can't do anything. He's at 3. Technically, he's not dead, but he kind of is. We're both sitting with no cards in our hand. as soon as this guy died, he plays any minion, I kill the merchant. I have 2 Fisted Jaraxxuses that either hit a minion or hit his face. He's in a tough spot. Got 4. A Leroy would be 10. Oh, there's nothing he can do. He just loses.
A conundrum.
Wow,
Your
well
gymnastics.
played.
Him.
Servants of the Black Harvest.
Nice. And look at that. Oh, turn 9. I said turn 8, but we got the nuts on turn 9. Alright.
Nemzi versus my heir.
Oh, rogue. You don't see a lot of rogue.
Let's have some fun.
Keep the imp, keep the Gul'dan. Drop the guard. I haven't played rogue in a while. What are we playing against? Some kind of like a Galakron rogue? Oh. Odd rogue. Okay. Haven't seen odd rogue in a while. He's not gonna coin kill, right? So like this probably is fine. Maybe discard a guard drive, or I could. I think we do that, and the next turn we can boom boom and hope for the best. So we're gonna play the 50-50 next turn.
Home in the shadows.
That's fine. 50-50 on our Doomguard's a little scary though. I like that. So we would play Malakar's Imp into a Soulfire and hope that it pulls the Hand of Gul'dan. If it does not, then we're really crying because we lost the burst. Now we can mount to Expired Merchant and get the guaranteed drop. Nice, okay, so
You are not the boss of night. It's still good.
got a nice fat hand.
Halt! Who goes there?
We Soulfire that. Well, if we Soulfire that and it pulls one of these guys, we're not exactly happy. God, this hand, it's heavy. We literally pulled like every heavy minion. I don't really want to use a Soulfire on nothing. I also don't want to do nothing. Did we risk it? Did we do it next turn? We got 4, 8.
There is so much untapped power. What do you fall?
Worth it. Ebonlock on the board is pretty nice. The only way to be careful now is we have 3 Hand of Gul'dan. So if we somehow manage to Doomguard into 2 of those, we are overdrawing a lot of cards.
Halt! Who goes there?
Okay. So this is tough because I could Doomguard. I could also just Soulfire and hope for the best. I could Fist of Jaraxxus as well. And 50-50 it. The next play is going to be interesting. Depends on what we draw.
I wonder.
I guess it doesn't really depend on what we draw. Did he leave? Is he mad that his henchman dog, the second one's not going to make the cut?
Tactical error.
Whoopsie.
Why do you fall? Who dares summon me?
The double fist. The double fist. That's one for the highlight reel. The ta-ta!
Smart moves. I concede.
What a game. That was cool. That was cool.